What is happening, people? Hey, good morning. Today is April 12th and we are at Hightowers Lake specifically, and I hadn't been here in a couple of weeks. Fish have made a big transition. As you all know, April, you can have fish right up against the bank in a foot of water, and you can have some suspended out in brush over 20 feet of water. So this is a transition time. A lot of times those bigger females will set off the bank and they'll just sit back and wait. Time gets right, they'll move up, spawn, right back off, suspending, 10 or 12 feet of water, 8 feet of water. And not quite sure where the fish are. We're gonna head to the upper end before the day's over. There is a tree in the water behind me, and we're gonna ease up here and see if it's any crappie sitting up in it. Hey guys, stay with us, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
That's a nice one. Yes, sir.
Boom!
That's a nice one right there, y'all. Woo, doggy boy. Wildlife adventures, that's how we roll.
Not bad for the first cast, is it? Hey guys, I just basically turned around. Hey, good sized crappie right there. Boom. And notice he hit that. There you go, Denny. Caught one on that alder bug. And that bait right there mimics a alder bug. It's one Dennis came up specifically for me. Man, that's not a bad start. That's a 10.5, 11-inch crappie. Now I saw these crappie, they're suspended out here in about 8 feet of water out in the middle of this cove, but boom, there you go. Hey, Lake Country Baits won't let you go hungry. There's nothing on this alder bug. And I'm telling you what I see. I'm seeing 3 and 4 crappie together out here. That's another good fish. I'm keeping fish today. I got a friend of mine says he would love to have some crappie. Hey, and I'm gonna oblige him today. Good eating size fish. That's another 10.5-inch crappie. Boom. So one of the things that I did in preparing to come here today, didn't know if I was gonna come here or go to Kerr Lake. I decided just to come to Hightowers. I got a little bit of late start, but anyway, I'll be fishing with my Fenwick rod today. And this Fenwick rod, people ask me this all the time. It is a 7-foot, medium, light, moderate, fast rod. And it has the Sienna reel on it. And I added a new one to my arsenal. Actually, this was a retirement gift from Captain Dave, the rod was. And it is a Triumph St. Croix, thanks to Captain Dave. And my brother gave me this 1000 Sedona reel. And I'm gonna try this outfit out today. And I put that's a 16th ounce jig. You can see there, 16th ounce jig. And that is the ice color. in the hot tail baits by Lake Country Baits with a chartreuse tail. Now I did not put any baits on when I got to, when I was tying on yesterday. I put some line on some reels and whatnot preparing. I did not put any baits because I didn't know what color water I would have. So I'm anticipating the further I go up the lake, the dingier the water becomes, and then I will begin to change baits according to the watercolor. So I've chosen, I've got an alder bug on. This is something Dennis made me about a year or so ago, and crappie eat a lot of aquatic insects in their diet. And I got that ice color, like I said, chartreuse tail. I think I got the shiny on my other lure. So I've got 3 colors I can try on them, and I allow the fish to tell me what color they like. Hey, you got to talk to the fish, or at least you got to listen to what they tell you to do. So let's go up here and catch a fish. They getting better, y'all. Let me put that on spot lock. Now those fish didn't move. And that's a good crappie right there. Boom. And he eat that alder bug. Look. He had to have some of that thing. Get the old hook out of this bad boy. Good crappie, y'all. Good crappie. Now I'll tell you one thing that I got to do, and this is a cardinal rule. That tree under the water there, you see the sun is in my back, and so the closer I get to the tree, the more of a huge shadow that it deploys over top of the tree, and in turn that's going to spook the fish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out away from the tree, get on the downside, and come back to the tree and cast through it. It didn't have a lot of crappie in it. There was a few nice crappie hanging around it. I saw some hanging out away from it. Those fish I was catching earlier was suspended out here away from the tree. And that's typical this time of year. Crappie will pull off those banks and just suspend out here in open water. I see them chasing shad. Well, at least I see bass chasing shad out here. They'll just back out here in these coves. It don't take them but just a few minutes if they need to spawn to move up there on the bank and spawn. And if this was a cloudy day, it wouldn't make as much difference about my shadow line. It wouldn't cast a shadow. Actually, I prefer to fish on a cloudy day, and you can get you know, fish are just not as spooky. And basically what I'm doing right now is not throwing down in the tree. I'm pitching and swimming the lure over the limbs, and trying to entice the crappie to come up out of the tree. And a lot of times the bigger crappie will sit right there on top. And there's some decent sized crappie in there. Now I'm not past putting my vertical jig on down in that tree either. And when I get to a tree underwater, there's a tree that's fell off the bank here. And as a rule of thumb, I like to start with the very tip and work my way back down the tree, because inevitably there's a trunk there that runs back to the bank somewhere, and crappie will sit right up underneath that trunk too. and they're just using that tree as, providing shade, protection, and just a place for them to spawn. So I'm going to give them every opportunity to actually catch the fish. So I start on the end, I pitch around in the limbs, and I work my way all the way up to the root. And I have found at times that wherever that root ball is, right up against the bank, some of the shallowest water is where most of the fish were hanging out. So, it just depends on how they're in transition. Okay, so I've made my way up in the kind of in the upper end, and I just caught that nice crappie. And I'm just starting here in the creek mouth, and I noticed anytime you get to a bridge, an area that narrows in the lake is always a good transition point for crappie to hang around, especially because it provides so much shade. So as the wind puffed me under the bridge, I seen a few decent crappie. Now the water's a lot different color up here. You can see in the background, actually good color for that grenada bug and that LC shad bait. I caught him on that ice color chartreuse tail. That particular color in Hyco, that white with chartreuse tail, is usually a pretty good color in this lake. And I'm gonna probably switch about all my baits over to different colors just to match the watercolor. They go with a yellow would be good, a chartreuse, something in a green color, chartreuse tail. And up here, same way as it was in the middle portion of the lake, we're gonna allow the fish to tell us. If I run a bait, so let me tell you what I do. So if I spot a fish and I run a bait by him twice and he does not react, I reach down, I've got 3-4 rods here. I reach down, pick another color, run it by him, and sometimes you'll find you get an immediate reaction to that particular color bait. Many people say bait color does not matter. There could be a subtle difference in the color, whether it's the metal flake that's in the lure or it's just something about a particular lure that makes a huge difference to a fish on a particular day. And as we see, we got a bluebird day today. So something with some light colored metal flake actually reflects in the water. This water is light colored. You notice how light colored that fish are. So you fish a light colored bait like a chartreuse or a grenada bug. And sometimes I'll put on a dark colored body that contrasts with the watercolor. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps you when you're out fishing and you're just thinking in your mind, what color should I fish? What color should I be fishing? So let's turn around here, and I'm gonna ease back up here. Now this water's fairly shallow up here. We're not gonna be fishing any water deeper than 8 feet up here. So fish could be scattered anywhere. This is what I would consider a flat portion. Whatever lake you're fishing in, this is kind of a flat up here. And fish, there's stumps under the water all over the place. There's brush on the bank. Fish could be staged anywhere because basically they could spawn anywhere up here. Now I think the lake is up about a foot, 1 or 1.5 feet or so. Anyway, hey, let's turn around here and catch a fish, y'all. Now he ate that. Look how far down in his mouth he's got that. Now that fish was hungry. He reacted good to this color. Now he is a 10-inch crappie. And he is going in the pot. Yeah, boom. good one right here, y'all. Pretty crappie. He hit that ice color with a chartreuse tail, hot tail baits, Lake Country baits. Let's put him in the live well. All right, remember what I told you about that. Fell in the boat, so that's a North Carolina quick release right there. I had to change my methods a little bit. I was trying to vertical jig to them, and the fish is spooky. You know, that's a good fish. That's 11-inch crappie right there. I'm using that, I think that's a grenada bug right there. It's got the white tip on it, or either creamy. And that color works good in this water by Lake Country baits. Anyway, another one for the pot. Well, it's another decent crappie right there. Now, all these crappie, it's getting late in the afternoon. They're coming up here, they're sunning. They're not very deep at all. They up off the bottom, swimming around, chasing shad, and you know, getting very vulnerable. If you was spider rigging out the front, you would be catching fish just like I am. Hey guys, we're getting ready to end this video. All in all, it's been a good day. This is the middle of April, and I didn't really see any crappie right up against the bank. There is some males there, but crappie right now are off the bank, suspended, moving a lot, not concentrated in maybe a school. They'll move back to the bank here, maybe on the next moon phase, not sure, and spawn up. A lot of spawning scars on these fish. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. Enjoy seeing all your comments. Let me know what you're doing out there in your part of the country while you're fishing. I'm northern North Carolina here at Hightowers Lake, right on the Virginia border here, and I know crappie transition differently throughout the United States, moving up to spawn a little later the further you go north. But just comment below, let me know, let other people see how the crappie are transitioned this time of year in your part of the country. Anyway, you remember, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Don't forget, hit that like button, click that notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Wildlife Adventures, and as always, you remember, it's a wildlife, and I'll see you on the water. He's actually hanging around the pillars. I'm seeing some fish up here.